This is the closest economically, education-wise, and socioeconomically of any group that I put together. By a show of hands, how many of you feel that you live paycheck to paycheck, that you struggle at times to get by? Raise your hands if that describes you.
We have the lowest unemployment rate in 18 years. That should be a huge thing for everybody here. People are getting raises, bonuses, jobs are opening up everywhere.
Me, I just got one yesterday, don't say no.
Yes.
Hold on, do you credit Donald? Stop. Do you
Absolutely.
1 second. Do you credit Donald Trump for your job?
Absolutely, the tax cuts made the company I work for, my boss has more money now to give to us. He gave all of us, there's only 13 of us, or 14. He gave all of us raises because he has more money now.
Why is capitalism so essential to America? And what's going to be great is, you came here in many cases for it, and the people who were born here don't appreciate it. Why?
Because they were handed everything, starting with my kids. They never had to struggle. The kids today, they never had to go, well, I choose my kids go to work, they're good because I teach them responsibility. But you see kids today, they got their credit cards from their parents. I work in construction. I hear people saying, not my son, he's not gonna sweep a broom. He's going to college. Well, guess what? Somebody's gonna have to be able to put a nail on the wall because 95% of America can't.
I was gonna say that we're also paying a lot for our education. You know, costs of living and the rights that we thought we were gonna get are going so high, and we're paying off our loans, so that's another thing for the...
I think our children take everything like granted, like that's the way it's supposed to be, because they were not exposed to what we have been exposed and where we come from. So the way they growing up, believing that's the way it's supposed to be.
I was born in a 3-story walk-up. My father made $30 a week. He worked overtime to send us to private high school and college to get braces, and they did anything they had to do to make us better than that. And that's all he cared about, was to make me better than him. And that's what it was about back then. It was about family and it wasn't about looking to anybody else to help us, because nobody would. So we were
times have changed.
We were poor.
That's not the reality we have today, unfortunately.
Okay.
Forced equality is socialism.
I was raised in South
That's what it is.
Florida.
If you're a socialist, you don't belong in America. You don't support the American way of life and the American system of government. That's the way it is. The Constitution does not guarantee equal result for all. It wouldn't be America if it did. And when we have reverse discrimination trying to achieve that, it creates more diversion than actually looking at what the 14th Amendment says, and that's equal protection for all.
So speaking of work, we were talking about the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is one of the lowest it's ever been, you know, it was at least in recent years. But that's because there's an influx in lower paying jobs and a decrease in middle paying jobs.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely.
That's the fact.
What's a middle paying job to you? How much you get?
A middle paying job, so upwards of like $25,000 to like $70,000. And then
A year?
Yes.
Where I'm at right now, we can't hire people. My mother has a restaurant. She can't hire people because they will not work.
You think it's a societal thing, or do you
I think people don't want to work hard for their money.
Or is the only option?
They walk into the restaurant, they see how busy it is, and say, nope, I'm not interested, and they leave.
The only options are lower paying jobs. Is your generation not going back to work because of that?
Lower paying jobs. What's a lower paying job?
McDonald's. Have you ever heard of it?
That's an entry level job.
10 bucks an hour.
One at a time.
That's an entry level job.
I don't think that the
It is.
employment rate
That's
is
what's
actually...
being out there. That's what's influxing. That's what
a lot of people who are fresh out of college with their BAs, that's the only thing a lot of them can find.
I don't actually think the unemployment rate is going down. I think a lot of people have stopped looking for work.
That's right.
I think that's what the problem is. A lot of people just giving up. Yeah. Because the wages that they're paying now, I mean, they're paying the same wages that people were making like 20 years ago. It's just ridiculous.
I think anybody can be successful. Anybody in this country can. It's about hard work. That's right. Anyone can. It doesn't, I mean, it just
Do you guys agree with that?
focused.
Who does not, over here, who does not agree with that? So they don't agree with you. The next generation does not
Why?
agree
It's
with
a
you.
simple concept. You work hard.
Why don't you agree with her?
It's not about hard work, it's other factors. It's how smart you are, it's
those
what
are
opportunities you have, it's who you know. You business guys, you should know better than anyone, it's who you know. That's how business works.
No.
You don't
It's how
Or by having rich
consistent
parents.
you are.
But there's also something else. There's a transfer of wealth, which people are living much longer. So there's a generational transfer of wealth that's not happening to people our age, and certainly going to be for your age. Hopefully, we all live a long time. And so people, all of a sudden, they're in their late 30s or 40s, and they get $100,000 or something from an insurance policy, or their parents' savings, or their house, the parents' house. That's not happening, and elderly people are costing a lot more to care for our parents. So that's a big issue as well. So it's tough on on your generation for sure.
Who here doesn't think that anyone can succeed in this country? Who doesn't believe that? Why not?
I mean, a lot of it really is like based on where you are. Like, look, if you grow up in like the Silicon Valley or Los Angeles or here in a nice school district, yeah, you have opportunities. But if you grow up like shit poor in like Appalachia somewhere, where there are no jobs in your entire city, where no one you know, like
tell that to Sam Walton and his family.
We're talking about the ones and twos.
But he came from a different country when the economy was growing 4 or 5% a year. That stuff was happening. In today's America, and even worse, in today's California, like highest cost of living in the country.
More people are working. Isn't that wonderful? I think it's fabulous that more people
when you Burger King.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Baloney.
Really? You think Trump voters, you think all Trump has done is gotten people jobs at Burger King?
I don't think he's created nearly as many jobs as Obama did.
Manufacturers closing down.
Yeah, I mean, he's promoting coal jobs. Coal?
Drilling for oil in the national parks. We're in Arizona, in the Grand Canyon.
manufacturing jobs built, skilled manufacturing built the middle class in this country.
Yep. You know,
And
but it's
those are the
fun.
jobs that built the middle class, brought people up, let them get ahead. And all of a sudden, the bean counters run the country. They're looking at long-term profits instead of short-term profits instead of long-term results.
That's true.
And sending jobs out of the country is exactly that.
Now overall 3.9. Hispanic black unemployment at the lowest it's been in the last 35 years. Has the media ever given Trump any credit at all? Nothing.
They just said the facts that were presented and that blacks are more gainfully employed is not true, whatever numbers. That was the first time they recanted
all over
something.
the south and west side.
Economically, most of you in this room are challenged. Most of you in this room probably have some financial issues from time to time, and some of you have financial issues every single day. And yet the American dream is alive to you. Why?
I'm originally from a small town before I moved to Cleveland. There just wasn't a lot there. I moved to Cleveland, the jobs are here. As far as the pay, you find something you like and they reward hard work. I work for a biomedical company. I graduated in history from Indiana University, had no training in biomedical, and now I'm making very good money. It's hard work. The American dream's live with hard work.
Because our economic system, it's a representative republic, it's capitalist, and if you have the attitude to go out and do and create a business, you can be Steve Jobs.
A lot of it is our financial problems for at least me and people that I know are all self-imposed, whether it's so that you could better yourself by taking out student loans, now you're struggling to pay those off, or because you just have to have a new iPhone or the new Apple Watch, or you got to have a brand new car, or this house isn't good enough, so I got to buy that house, and I got to do this. So we put these things on ourselves. We know that we can still make it, we can get out of this thing, we can keep working, we can still achieve better things, but I think a lot of it's self-imposed with a lot of people.
But you can still start here at the Fry Guy at McDonald's and then get one. Somebody still had to work off your back. It's riding coattails, there's nothing bad about it, but you can't be the person standing here saying, why don't I have that kind of money? Why don't I live there? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing to get to that goal?
You can do that.
You have so much.
When I was a kid, everybody I knew got entry-level jobs.
Yes, sir.
And they did fine, and they got more trained, and they advanced, and they were successful.
Climb up the ladder.
They all started entry-level.
So my question to you is, with the amount of money that we do make with entry-level jobs, is that enough to actually afford an apartment around here?
I couldn't afford an apartment. We shared rooms. We had 4 guys in one apartment. We didn't expect to have own apartment by ourselves with an entry level job. Never.
Parents are pushing their kids out quicker nowadays as well. There's not really a system. Well, I mean, people
You guys
are
don't
really,
agree with that?
No.
Have you ever heard
people are not dependent. They're not.
Have you ever heard of the phrase boomerang kids? That's what's going on right now. They're boomeranging. They're coming
right back because of the jobs.
So that's an excuse. That's an excuse.
One at a time.
It's not.
Yeah.
The reality.
Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
we to go to college and we end up hundreds of $1,000s in debt. Then we come out, we try to get an apartment and we can't do it because we don't have enough money.
But is that just
And then
because
we
you
end up
showed
forced,
up
like,
and
we
it
have to
won't
do
happen?
boomerang.
Sorry to cut you off. One of the millennial gentlemen a minute ago says, well, if I get a BA, I'll go out and I won't be able to get a job. Well, why'd you get the BA in the first place? Maybe you love Russian history and that's wonderful, but if you can't get a job with it, can you afford the luxury of just enjoying Russian history? Or do you plan from the time maybe you're in high school to say, this is what I need to do to minimize my debts, to maximize my job possibilities? You know, it's kind of a cold, rational way to look at it, and you need to have fun too. But
I'll reach across the aisle on this one. I agree with you. Colleges should not be giving out certain degrees. They're wasteful, right? Majoring in Russian history. But what we're talking about is it's not just those people, right? It's you come out of college with a BA in a STEM field, right? Or hard science. They still want you to go get a master's. That's not free.
These are the richest people in the world, right? And Donald Trump, he didn't even release his tax return. What do you think? He doesn't pay his taxes, and his taxes should go to pay for these programs. That's what should be done. Like all these rich people, they should pay for the social program. They shouldn't go to defense.
You don't think they're paying?
They should help
You don't think
people.
they're paying for it now?
I don't think so. That's why he didn't release his tax return, because he's not paying his fair share.
Okay, so what should they pay?
Should be like 30-35%. Now they are less than 20 with a long-term interest gain. And even Warren Buffett said it's not normal that I'm paying less taxes than my secretary in percentage of it.
The problem is the wealthier aren't paying the right amount right now because there's a cap on taxable income, and that's one of the reasons that Social Security is struggling. You lift that cap on taxable income, it's indefinitely solvent. That's literally all you need to do to fix the issue.
No. You want to penalize people for doing well, and you want to take their money? If you're self-employed, you're paying both the employer and the employee portion. So you want them to pay more than 18% of all their earnings on top of income tax, on top of state tax?
What I
Are
want
you
is for the
crazy?
payroll tax to apply to
No.
all income evenly. Yes, I do. That makes it solvent indefinitely. I
No.
think if you're doing better, you should pay more, absolutely, and I will not apologize for that statement.
Absolutely not. Do you know that in California, 1% of the population pays 47% of the taxes?
Of course, they pay more because they have so much more wealth.
Do you think that's good, that 1% pays almost half?
The money should be back into the economy, right? Philanthropy is also a thing, right? Like is there not like a caring about the actual community? You can't.
So
I
what
understand
happens
you're
if
successful, but
10%
why not
of
care about
those
other
1% move out of California? What happens to California?
Budget
Started,
deficits skyrocket.
We haven't seen that happen despite all the
Oh, yes,
taxes
you have.
here. California is doing by far the best out of
There's
any state in terms of GDP.
166,000 people in California that pay 47% of the taxes.
And they also
And every
have-
time one of them moves out, and I know them, I know they move out. They move out all the time. Carl's Karcher, or Carl's Juniors, moved their headquarters to Tennessee.
I don't
Took with
remember
them
what
lots
the
of jobs.
percentage is. I think it's like the 1% of income owners have as much wealth as the bottom, like, was it 80%? I don't remember. It's some absurd number. So I'm not going to apologize for asking them to pay more. And I think that that 40% tax rate they're paying,
What
whatever
do
it
you
is
want
right
them to
now,
pay?
for the amount.
What do you want them to pay?
I want them to pay all of their income. I want them to pay the
All of
payroll.
their income?
No. Listen, I want them to pay the payroll tax evenly across all income and not have there be a cap. I don't think that's an unreasonable request, considering there's such massive income inequality.
You say income inequality, so those
Wealth
people who
inequality.
work,
Wealth inequality.
those people who build business, work hard, they should be penalized because somebody doesn't.
I think the big problem is the gap between the rich and the poor. And the richer the rich are, they don't use the money as much as if it was fueled into the middle class or the lower income class. And when you look throughout history, the moment where the gap was the smallest, it was in the 60s when it was the golden years of America. So I also think that for the country as a whole, it's just much healthier to have not that disparity.
Raise your hands if you believe the rich do not pay their fair share. Why do you feel that way?
Because the rich get richer and we get poorer.
I see how much money comes out of my paycheck, and if that 1/3 comes out of their check as well, then we will be in a different place. There will be better, education. There will be less hunger, like she was saying. There will be better.
How about an economy that rewards a guy, makes him a multi-billionaire simply because he was socially awkward and randy? I mean, Zuckerberg, he became a billionaire just because he was kind of lonely and wanted to find girls.
But that was an idea. Yeah. It was an idea, and he ran with it. And if that's if that's your thing, that's your thing. I mean, everyone has something that they're passionate about, and I think some some baby boomers that I know of, they don't find passions to be career worthy. We do. We can make money doing what we love doing, but I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying some people in your generation actually feel like that's a waste of time. I was told to go into nursing school because photography wasn't a good course of action, but for me, photography and art is a passion, and it's something that I can actually have a career at. And I work hard every day to do it, and I go clean houses, and I work Postmates, which is a lazy job.
That's it right there.
Right, and I feel like
Well, another thing is, a lot of what we've been talking about, like whether it's all these barriers millennials face, I don't think anyone here has said it's not worth fighting like hell to make something of yourself despite these barriers. I've worked jobs in retail, catering, cooking, coaching speech and debate. I've done a multitude of things, and I still do multiple things. I've driven for Uber, all while pursuing my passion, which is campaign work and electoral politics. The thing is, a lot of people here are putting in the work despite these barriers because we know, someone earlier said that millennials are basically forced, I think it was you saying we're forced to be superhumans. That was you, thank you. But that's what a lot of us here are doing. We're not only pursuing our passions, but we're doing things that we despise, and yes, working hard, because despite these barriers, which we're acknowledging, we're not making excuses, we're working to overcome them, just like your generation.
What do you guys think of a bit of a movement by a guy named Mike Rowe, who's kind of a TV personality, but is really promoting the idea of more vocational education, learn to be an electrician and start a business and become wealthy and successful?
I'd rather learn that. Not everyone has to go to college.
That's amazing. That's an amazing reaction.
things of that nature.
Great.
Investing in specific.
$100,000 to start a business than spend $500,000 for a college degree.
Amen to that.
I think
But you have to have
a
a
college
vision.
degree is worthless.
There's some people that lack vision, and they need to be
You know
in
what?
a space
Poverty and
to where
hunger
that
gives you
they,
vision.
they can have that direct sense.
It really does. Poverty and hunger gives you vision.
No, vision, but being in that space to have actual things that you know that you're going to school for, that you're going to make money for. You're not just going to school to go to school. You have a vision as to what it is that is going to make the money so that you can support yourself after you obtain this degree. So you're not just going in there for something that you're not passionate about.
I think that's the problem, is when I went to school, I actually worked in the field that I wanted to get a degree in while I was in school. I didn't wait till I got the degree. I worked entry level, sometimes didn't get paid anything because I wanted to get my foot in the door. And I got the job. It was a campaign job. And I left school for it.